Scarecrow Rent by Mail, Authentic's Drive-In Horror Fest, and Evil Dead the Game is Dying. All on this Friday edition of Spill the Guts.
I like it spooky.
Hello and welcome. My name is Clint, and I am one half of the ever-evolving I Like It Spooky Horror podcast, which now in partnership with Pure Macabre brings you a minimum of 18 different days of content each month. Our latest subcast, Mishmash, brought to you by Leah Stalker of Pure Macabre, launched last Saturday, and will bring you reports of spooky events all over the state of Michigan every other week. Since we are on the cusp of the glorious month of October, however, listen in for an additional episode of Mishmash tomorrow, as Leah helps to guide you through the haunted overload of events that are heading our way. As for today, it is Friday, September 22nd, and this just in. First story of the day comes to us from Engadget.com, who lets us know that America's largest independent video store is taking its DVD by mail service nationwide. Not long ago, during a feature episode of the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast, where we interviewed Dawn of the Dead helicopter zombie Jim Crut, Brian and I discussed news that after September 29th, Netflix will no longer rent DVDs by mail and will be winding down that part of its business altogether. Most people might be surprised that the streaming giant is still even renting DVDs, but if you are one of its subscribers who'll be sad to see the service go, there's now another rent-by-mail option you can use anywhere you are in the U.S. Scarecrow, the largest independent video store in the U.S., has launched its own rent-by-mail service that will send DVDs and Blu-ray discs straight to your door. The store first piloted the service back in 2019 before it started working on making its library available to people across the country during the pandemic. As the Seattle Times reports, it launched a campaign in 2021 to raise funds for an overhaul of its aging website, making it more searchable and giving it a more modern look. Now Scarecrow's rent-by-mail website is live with step-by-step instructions on how to avail of the service and a searchable library divided by genres. To be able to rent from Scarecrow, you'll need to sign up for an account, which will have to be verified and approved by a staff member. After that, you can start adding DVDs to your cart. Titles are priced individually, but shipping will cost you $12 for up to 6 discs. That's discs, not titles, which means if one movie has 6 discs, you can't add more to the same shipment. The rental window is 14 days, including shipping. After that, you can either renew by phone or pay late fees. Scarecrow has 140,000 titles in its collection. Comparably, Netflix has around 5,000 titles in its U.S. catalog, according to cordcutting.com, most of which you can rent by mail. There are exceptions, however, including rare and out-of-print videos that require a security deposit, newly released movies, and adult titles. It also doesn't mail VHS tapes and laser discs, so you'll have to go elsewhere for those formats. To sign up and start renting, go to scarecrow.com.
Welcome to your favorite drive-in theater and a sparkling new season. Watch our screen and local newspapers for all the fine shows coming this way. Show after show will feature the latest hits, the biggest stars for fun-filled, pleasure-packed evenings. Relax, come as you are, and spend an enjoyable night out.
Spend an enjoyable night out.
Spend an enjoyable night out with the entire family.
Next up is from BloodyDisgusting.com, who reports that to celebrate the 90th anniversary of drive-ins, authentic drive-in theaters across the country present the second annual Authentic Drive-Ins Horror Fest. Participating authentic drive-in theaters will show double, triple, or dusk-to-dawn marathons of classic horror films on the largest movie screens in the country that include William Friedkin's The Exorcist, John Carpenter's 1978 Halloween, George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, a 35th anniversary screening of Child's Play, a 40th anniversary screening of The Slumber Party Massacre, a 60th anniversary screening of the Herschel Gordon Lewis, the godfather of gore, splatter classic Blood Feast, Universal Monster Nights featuring the original black and white classics, 1980s Friday the 13th, Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead, the Ultimate Midnight Movie, the Rocky Horror Picture Show featuring a live Shadowcast performance, and independent horror shorts Bloody Bites from Bloody Disgusting and Scotchworthy Productions, and many more. Movies and all activities will vary according to location. Continuing the drive-in theater tradition of showmanship, select locations will also feature spooky activities including haunted decorations, costume contests, roaming monsters for photo ops, and horror flea markets selling horror movie memorabilia. Many authentic drive-ins will also host community trunk-or-treat events for children and family-friendly Halloween-themed movies. You can find the full screening and event schedule at AuthenticDriveIns.com. And it's once again that time to pause for station identification to hear from a bunch who, when they weren't in the video store, were at the drive-in, our podcast network, the PFPN.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Last story of the day is again from BloodyDisgusting.com, who reports that just over 1 year after the Deadite slaying began, the developers of Evil Dead the Game have made the unfortunate announcement that no new content will be created for the game. The team at Saber writes in an official statement, quote, "We have made the decision not to pursue the development of new content for Evil Dead the Game. We also confirm that we will not be releasing a Nintendo Switch version of the game. We will keep the servers up for the foreseeable future and address any major issues that arise. On behalf of the entire team at Saber, thank you all for the groovy times and your continued support." An asymmetrical multiplayer Evil Dead the Game officially launched in May of 2022. From Boss Team Games and Saber Interactive, the game features single-player and co-op gameplay and was billed as the ultimate Evil Dead experience in the world of video games. Several characters from the movies and TV series were playable in the game at launch, along with 4 different versions of Deadite-slaying horror hero Ash Williams. Post-launch content across the past year has included new survivors, including characters from the 2013 remake, as well as an additional map based on Army of Darkness. It's been a while, however, since we've gotten any new content for the game. This despite the return of the franchise to the big screen earlier this year with the box office hit Evil Dead Rise, which we covered here on the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast on one of the more recent feature episodes. We can only assume this tough decision was made by Saber due to not enough players actively playing the game at this time, which is always an uphill battle for multiplayers of this kind.
Savior my ass! I'm a goddamn failure.
And that is a wrap on your Friday news. Don't forget that you can connect with the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast on all mainstream social media platforms, and to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss out on things like tomorrow's additional Mishmash episode, and, of course, more news this coming Monday on another edition of Spill the Guts.
Hey, what's wrong with you, man? Show some fucking respect for the dead, will ya?